The battlefield was silent now, except for the distant echoes of dying screams and the occasional rumble of artillery fire. The war had raged for months between the United Systems Coalition and the relentless Valkyrie Dominion. Victory for the Coalition was finally within reach, but the price had been steep. Sergeant Ryan Carter wiped the sweat and dirt from his brow, his exo-armor battered from the last skirmish. He was on cleanup duty, searching for any remaining threats or survivors. His HUD flickered with life signs, most weak, some already fading. Then he saw it, a massive, heavily wounded figure slumped against the ruins of a destroyed outpost. It was a Valkyrie. Ryan tensed, his rifle rising instinctively. The Valkyrie were elite warriors, bred for battle with their 4 muscular arms, plated exoskeletons, and clawed feet that could shred armor. Even wounded, they were dangerous. But this one wasn't moving. As Ryan crept closer, his helmet scanners confirmed the truth. The Valkyrie warrior was paralyzed from the waist down, likely from a spinal plasma strike. Blood, dark and viscous, pooled beneath him, and his breathing was ragged. Ryan knew the protocol. Enemy combatants, especially Valkyrie, were to be left for dead. They never surrendered. They never begged for mercy. The Coalition's medics wouldn't waste resources on an alien who would rather die than be captured. But Ryan saw something different. The Valkyrie's eyes, deep-set and burning red, met his own. There was no hatred there, no defiance, just something Ryan never expected, acceptance. The warrior knew he was dying, and he was alone. Ryan's grip on his rifle tightened. His squad would never approve of what he was about to do. Hell, even the Valkyrie might see it as dishonorable. But he couldn't just walk away. Ryan dropped to one knee beside the alien, pulling out his field medkit. The Valkyrie grunted, his mandibles twitching in confusion. "What are you doing, human?" the alien rasped in heavily accented galactic comment. "Trying to stop you from bleeding out," Ryan said, already applying biofoam to the wound. "Hold still." The warrior coughed, a dry, wheezing sound that might have been laughter. "You waste your efforts. I'm already dead." Ryan ignored him and worked faster, sealing the worst of the wounds. He pulled out an auto-suture and pressed it into the warrior's abdomen. The alien flinched. "Why?" Ryan hesitated. Why was he doing this? The Valkyrie had killed thousands of humans. They were ruthless, brutal, and relentless in war. But that didn't mean they deserved to die alone. "Because no one deserves to be left behind," Ryan muttered. The Valkyrie stared at him for a long moment, then closed his eyes. "I am called Vorkash." "Ryan." A weak nod. "You are strange, Ryan." Getting Vorkash out of the war zone was a nightmare. The Coalition forces were moving in, securing territory, while scavenger teams collected tech and resources. If Ryan was caught aiding an enemy, he'd face a court-martial, or worse. But he wasn't about to let that stop him. Strapping Vorkash to his back using emergency restraints, Ryan moved through the ruins, using his knowledge of patrol routes to avoid detection. The Valkyrie warrior was heavy, even with enhanced armor, but Ryan gritted his teeth and pressed on. After hours of grueling movement, they reached a small, abandoned bunker outside the main combat zone. Ryan set Vorkash down, checking his vitals. He was stable, but the paralysis hadn't changed. "You should have left me," Vorkash murmured. "Your people will not accept this." Ryan shrugged. "Then I won't let them find out." Vorkash's mandibles twitched in amusement. "Madness. Yeah, well, humans are full of that." Days passed. Ryan managed to secure some supplies from a Coalition outpost, passing off his absences as recon missions. He fed Vorkash, kept his wounds clean, and even tried makeshift physical therapy, though the warrior growled in frustration at his useless legs. Despite everything, a strange camaraderie formed between them. Vorkash spoke of his people, of how the Varkari viewed battle as a sacred duty, a test of strength. He admitted that losing the ability to fight was a fate worse than death. Ryan, in turn, told stories of Earth, of towering cities, vast oceans, and humanity's long history of war and survival. "You are resilient," Vorkash admitted one evening. "I see now why your kind is feared." Ryan smirked. "About time you figured that out." Then everything fell apart. A patrol found the bunker. Ryan had been careful, but someone must have noticed his unauthorized supply runs. His own squad stormed in, weapons drawn. "Step away from the alien, Carter," Lieutenant Mason barked. Ryan slowly raised his hands, putting himself between Vorkash and the soldiers. "He's not a threat." Mason's eyes narrowed. "Are you insane? He's the enemy. Orders are clear. Leave them to die." Ryan's jaw clenched. "That's not who we are." Mason scoffed. "You don't speak for all of humanity." "No, but I speak for myself." Ryan took a deep breath. "If we start deciding who deserves to live based on convenience, then we're no better than the ones we're fighting." Silence. His squad hesitated. Some looked uncertain, others disgusted. But Mason just sighed and lowered his rifle. "You're going to regret this, Carter," he muttered. Then, to Ryan's shock, Mason turned and walked away. "Let's go," the lieutenant ordered the rest of the squad. One by one, they followed. Ryan exhaled slowly, then turned to Vorkash. The Varkari warrior looked at him with something Ryan never thought he'd see in those red eyes. Respect. The war ended months later. The coalition won, forcing the Varkari Dominion into retreat. But not all Varkari surrendered to death. Some, like Vorkash, survived because of choices no one expected. Ryan pulled some strings, got Vorkash smuggled out to a neutral system. There, with human cybernetics and rehabilitation, the warrior adapted. He could never fight the same way again, but he found a new purpose. Years later, when humans and Varkari finally brokered peace, one of the key negotiators was an unlikely ambassador, Vorkash, the warrior who had once been left for dead. And standing beside him, as both a soldier and a friend, was Ryan Carter. Because sometimes saving just one life can change everything.